What's up, everyone? Steven here with techmaker.tv. This is building a decentralized chat with Node JS and aleph.im part 5. In the last couple of episodes, we got set up to actually log in and create an Ethereum account for our users. And we actually went ahead and set up this post route where we can, in a form, which lets us push messages to the Aleph network. In this episode, what we're going to do is go ahead and set up our view so that we can pull back messages from the network and show them so we can see what people are saying, and get it set up to listen via WebSockets so that as new messages enter the network, they get added to our screen. We will also be hooking up over here on index.html. We're going to go ahead and hook this form up so that it submits with JavaScript so that it just stays on the same page. And then we will add our message back to the screen sort of through the same pipe that we do all the other stuff, which is going to be through WebSocket. So it gets added to the network, and then once it's on the network will broadcast a WebSocket event, which will trigger us adding it to the screen. So I don't know how much of that we're going to get done in this episode. I'm hoping all of it, but let's see. I'm trying to keep these to like 15-20 minutes or so, and if I don't get all the way there, then we'll knock out the rest in the next episode. Also, just as one sort of side note, as I'm going through this, I'm getting ideas for how I would probably do the architecture differently if I were to build this out in another project in the future. So if you have anything that maybe you're a professional JavaScript developer and you're watching this and you're thinking you would do this totally differently, totally fair, maybe I will too later. So I'm just kind of exploring right now, and we'll see where we end up. But with that said, I've got the simple dApp from Aleph still pulled up over here in GitHub. And what I want to do is go ahead and just try to pull back. Where is it? I want to pull back the post. So we have this method that they wrote, get messages. And basically all I want to do is say aleph.get posts and then console log those out on my index. So I'm just going to copy that line of code there. And then back over here in my on my get slash, I'm going to just put that code here. So we're obviously missing some variables, and I'm going to come down and grab these. For now, I'm just going to copy and paste these above. We'll want to refactor this very shortly probably, but for now I'm just going to paste these in here. What do I need? So I definitely need the API server. Looks like I need room. And let's see, I think that's about it, right? Let's see. So if I do aleph.post, because we didn't destructure it in exactly the same way. So we have to call aleph.getPost, so on and so forth. Then we'll say .then, and we'll have posts here. And I'm just going to console.log posts. And I'm going to move this response send file up in there, so that will now trigger after we do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this up here like this. I'm going to say npm start, and that's going to fire up a server over on port 4567 as I have it set up. I'm going to go ahead and open a new tab, localhost 4567. I'm going to have to log in. So I can't remember, was it Samantha? Was that it? Samantha, I think, was who we were using in our password here. And so now we're basically going to get this post message here, but let's go back. See how that took kind of half a second to load? I think that's because we went and we fetched all these messages, and you can see that we're logging them all out here. So this is the sort of thing, we may want to do asynchronously instead of putting this as a page load dependency, but this is just kind of how I have it set up right now, so that's what I'm going to go with. So now what I want to do is just go ahead and render these out on the page somehow. So again, I'm not coming from a JavaScript background other than the little bit that I typically use in like a Rails app. So I'm going to go with a tool called EJS, which I don't know if that's like the most cutting edge thing or whatever, but it looks the most like Rails to me. So I'm going to give it a shot here. I don't think I've ever actually done this before. So if you're watching this, this is how this channel is a bit different, is I'm kind of doing stuff live a lot of the time. So basically sometimes things don't work the first time, and I actually struggled a little more with this than I expected. So I'm kind of like set back to everything that we just did. I think I've got it figured out now. So basically what we need to do, we need to put this here. So we need to tell our app that we're going to use the EJS view engine, which is just some more boilerplate. So I just copied and pasted in here. Once we do that, you're going to need to restart your server if you didn't already, after you update your package JSON essentially and install that. So what we need to do is, I kind of did this accidentally by naming this folder views here. But this EJS relies on there being a folder named views, and I just did that because it's a Rails convention and I tend to like some of their stuff. But basically, once you install EJS, you can do res.render and then tell it what file you want. Now, it looks in the views directory by default, so it relies on a naming convention there. So if you wanted to, you could nest something in here like views, and then you could have something like messages / index or something, but we don't have any subfolders, we just have views. So I'm just going to rely on that. And then we don't have to tell it this because it automatically looks there. So let's go ahead and save this, and let's go log in and see what happens. And it's going to throw an error, and I'm a big fan of following errors. So, you know, one of the key things you have to do is learn to read error messages if you're kind of a newer developer. And it's very helpful a lot of the time. So error failed to look up view index. So basically it's telling us that we don't have something defined that we should, and it's because we need to actually rename this file, in this case to index.ejs. And so if we save that and refresh again, we'll be back to where we were with our message field there. So why do we do this? First and foremost, now we can actually pass variables to the view. So for example, what we can do is give this an object now, and we can just say message hello world, like that. And then back over here in our index, let's go above our form and let's just print out a message. Sorry, can't type right now. I think that's how it works. Sorry, I get the stuff spread out kind of funny. So let's go back over here. Let's refresh. I have to log in again, which is starting to become annoying. And let's see. So you can see here we have hello world. And so what we can do is, I don't know if you caught all of that, and I was just over here on this documentation page on npmjs.com for the package EJS. So I don't have all of this memorized. It's very similar to Ruby. It's kind of funny to have the curly braces like that, but this is really similar to ERB syntax, for example, which I guess makes sense, the EJS and the ERB kind of being similar family. So anyway, what I want to do is pass the posts along like this. And we'll say posts, and now I shouldn't need to console log them anymore. And then over here, I'm actually just going to print out the posts. So we'll save that, come back and refresh, and we'll have to log in again. And now it's going to take a second, and we just get this object thing. And that's because basically we have this JSON structure that's coming back to us. So what we're going to do is iterate through and print them all out in an unordered list. So if we go over to the code again, I think that's going to look, I'm going to leave that there for just a sec. So I think that's going to look something like, so in Ruby, if you want to print something to the screen, you put an equal sign, and if you don't, you leave it off. So if you're just doing like a loop, you don't want to print that out. You want to actually just have it like without the equal sign. So I think it looks the same in EJS so far. So I think what we'll do is say like post.for each post, and then we'll give that, wait a second. Let's go back over really quick and look at the example here. So we have users.for each, and then you give the user, okay, I'm sorry, clicking around too much. Here we go. So for each post like that. And so we won't actually have the closing tag up here, which is kind of a funny syntax in a way. But what we're going to need to do is come down here underneath and close up those curly braces and parentheses. So then it looks like what we can do is just say post here. And I'm going to go ahead and first of all, let's do this. Let's say an unordered list, start that up here. And then for each, let's see, can I move that up? Yep, there we go. So for each one of these, I'm going to create a list item and put the post in it. And let's just see what that prints out. It may still be kind of like just an object thing, but let's see. So if I refresh, I got a syntax error. What's my, it's not entirely surprising. Post.for each is not a function. So let's go back over here really quick and let's scroll up to look at what the posts were. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, so there's a lot of them. Let me actually console.log posts again here. Sorry, let's get back over to here. In index.js, let's console.log posts. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Well, no, let's do it like this. So we will come back over here and probably have to log in again. All right, so that should have logged some stuff out here before it exploded. So let's see if we can scroll up to the top. It doesn't look like we can. What methods are there on this thing? I need to, let's go back over to the example code. That might be the easiest way to sort this out. Post, get post. So we're getting the messages here. I'm just trying to see like where we actually display this. So if we go back up to the top, I know I did this in a previous episode, so we have to be looping somewhere, right? So for post of posts, yeah, it's not quite exactly what I'm expecting here. So I went back and actually just kind of skimmed through a previous episode notes that I had made, and I think what I actually need to do is aleph.post.getPosts, and what I was calling this before was result for some reason, which, I mean, that variable name doesn't matter, but I think it's like you have to actually call .posts on that. So let's go back and refresh again, which is going to make me log in again. Okay, so Samantha password. Okay, so now we're getting object, right? Now, if we go back, because we're still console logging these things out in here, so you can see that basically we have item content is where all the meat and potatoes are, so to speak. So we have item content, and then we have content, and we have body. So what we're going to need to do is JSON parse item content here, and then we need to call content.body on it. So let's go back, and again, I'm going to take this step by step just to make sure that I understand what's really going on here. So, which is always my strategy. So we'll say post dot item content, and I don't think that saving this file causes us to have to sign in again, and it doesn't look like it does. That's cool. So remember, this is actually a string, so we need to JSON parse this, and I'm just gonna do that here in line. So we'll say actually, let's do this. Let's say I'm gonna see if I can do this. So var content equals json.parse, and then say post.item content, like that. And then let's just say content. Let's actually really quick go back over here. So we have content. So I don't want to call that content because I'm going to end up doing content.content.body. So let's call this, just to kind of keep with the parsed item, like that, parsed item, and then we'll say parsed item dot content dot body, and let's go refresh and see what happens. Okay, cool. So I've got a whole bunch of people testing and saying, can you hear me? And cool. So that's pretty cool. I think that's probably where I'm gonna stop for this episode, because that took me a little bit longer to get set up than I thought. So here's the game plan. What I think I'm gonna do is hook it up so that in the next, first of all, let's just make sure this works. Testing from TechMaker, let's post, which is probably going to stall out over here because I don't think we hooked that up to do anything if we look back on our messages. So it just submits the post, it doesn't actually do anything. But if I refresh here, I got testing from TechMaker on the top. So we actually have it fully hooked up. What I want to do is in the next episode, I'm going to hook up WebSockets, and we'll have it set up so that we'll post in this down here, and then we have a message up here. I think at some point we're going to have to make this look better because right now it doesn't look like anything. So I'm going to work up a design, and I don't know if we're going to do that absolutely next or after we hook up WebSockets. I'm inclined to hook up the WebSockets and all that stuff and then make it look good, but we'll see where I decide to go. As always, if you made it all the way to this point, thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate it. If you're enjoying this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. Also, I try to respond to recent comments, so people will leave comments on videos I made like 2 years ago and asking me very technical questions about something I haven't thought about in 2 years. And it's hard for me to get back about that stuff, but if you ask me something within like a week or two from making this, I'll typically jump in and try to help. Depends on what exactly the issue is. But in any case, be sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and if you got a question, leave it below, and I'll talk to you in the next episode.